Joining me now, Fox News contributor and former CIA station chief who served in Moscow, Dan Hoffman. Dan, always a pleasure to see you. This kind of speaks, though, to the Biden administration's posture in standing up for Ukraine all along, where the strategy seems to have been, don't provoke Putin, don't do anything to upset Putin. Is that off base, even with this missile launch?
I think that actually gets to the point of why Vladimir Putin decided really right now to proceed with this test. It really adds marginally to Russia's military capabilities. It's all about timing, and it's about symbolism, and it's about reminding the West that Russia has this nuclear capability, and especially when we're trying to supply Ukraine's besieged forces in the Donbass with military equipment, which is very difficult to do. Vladimir Putin knows that President Biden is obsessed with the risk of a World War III, and he's using that, frankly, to deter the Biden administration from giving the Ukrainians all of the military support that they need. We've been lagging behind, and we're playing catch up, much to the detriment of the readiness of these Ukrainian forces to withstand what is going to be a Russian onslaught in the coming days.
I'll raise an issue that the Wall Street Journal editorial page writes about today, Dan, that handing Putin the nuclear advantage is what the op-ed is called, that the Biden administration is canceling a new weapon that would serve as a nuclear deterrent. In the latest Pentagon budget, Biden has nixed the Sea-launched nuclear cruise missile. It's an SLCM-N. It's a tactical nuclear weapon, and it would serve as not only a deterrent for Russia, but also it would be useful in dissuading China from using a nuke on Taiwan. And this, as we're hearing China's defense minister telling the U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin that Taiwan is part of China. This was during their first phone call. China warning if the Taiwan issue isn't handled properly, Beijing's relations with the U.S. will be damaged. So Russia and Putin and Xi and China are inextricably linked in terms of the United States.
Yeah, so I think modernizing our nuclear forces is critical to deterring Russia and to deterring China. It's no accident that Secretary Austin, in that first phone call with his counterpart, Chinese counterpart, Minister of Defense, that this issue would be raised. I'm sure that Xi Jinping is very well aware that Taiwan must be deriving some kind of inspiration from the way that Ukraine is fighting back against a member of the UN Security Council with nuclear weapons trying to change the borders with force. That's the same situation that Taiwan faces. And Xi Jinping wants to remind the United States and the rest of the world that there's only one China, and Taiwan is a part of it. And this leads us to questions for the United States about lessons that we should learn from Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and how much more should we provide Taiwan in the way of military assistance, and should we remove the strategic ambiguity right now that casts a pale over our relationship with Taiwan?
In terms of the weapons and assistance going to Ukraine, where are we in that, Dan? How are we moving quickly enough? Because, again, our response has been poorly and painfully slow since last year, really.
Well, let's just remember quickly that we had a chance a year ago when Russia had massed 70,000 troops on the border to get all kinds of military assistance to Ukraine. And at that time, this administration was nervous about doing so, that they might provoke Russia. That was the time to send Ukraine massive amounts of javelins and stingers. But we didn't do that. And now, again, we're playing kind of catch up. And the slowdown is our own inventory. We don't have unlimited stockpiles of these weapons. The supply routes, very difficult to get the weapons in from through Poland, Western Ukraine, and into the Donbass. And Ukraine, no, they don't have enough. President Zelensky is emphasizing that. They need more helicopters, they need more Humvees, and they need more drones. They've gotten some tanks from the Czech Republic and an S-300 air defense system from Slovakia, but it's not enough, though the Biden administration has provided 11 Mi-17 helicopters, and that's helpful, and howitzers. But It's hard, that the howitzers are using different ammunition than what Ukraine uses. There's training required, and again, we're just playing catch up here. And what we're looking at right now is as close to what we saw during World War II, sadly, as any of us, I think, could imagine. The terrain in the Donbass is flat, and it's going to be just they're going to be under siege from indiscriminate Russian attacks.
Horrifying. Dan, thank you for being here. Always, it's such a pleasure. Daniel Hoffman. We'll be right back.